No, no! Wait, what if I... If I can't LARP, then I will LARP at home.
Hello everybody, my name is FreebieWits, and I'm doing an unscripted review of Until You Fall, and that's technically not true. Okay, it is a review, an unscripted one at that, but I hesitate to really call it that because I don't feel like I gave this game a proper chance. Quite frankly, I don't like this game. And it's not the game's fault at all, from what I can tell. The game does a lot right. Objectively, it does a lot right, but from my perspective of what I played of it, I just can't get into it. I don't like it. You have to understand, this is a LARP channel. Now, I know there's a lot of game reviews here, but every time I do a review, I try to bring it back to LARP in some way. Even my drawing videos, I try to bring it back to LARP. And of course, I have my Guide to LARP series, my Analyze and Adapt videos, where I try to turn stuff into LARPs, or board games and stuff like that, one media into another. Until You Fall was recommended to me on a LARP-centric group. I think it was on Facebook or something, I can't remember. Point was, someone in the LARP community said, "Hey, you, I think you'll like Until You Fall." And from the outside, I could see how they could come to that conclusion. You have fantasy characters with swords and stuff like that going at each other. But I still can't bring myself to like it. Now, granted, I haven't played very much of this game, maybe 30 minutes or so. But like I said, I don't like it, and I'll try to explain why, so for those of you who want to or are thinking about buying Until You Fall can sort of get an idea of why me specifically might not like it. And, well, I don't want to dissuade people from not getting it if they would like it, and like I said, I'll try to explain my point of view. So, the basic premises of Until You Fall is that you wake up, you fight enemies with your VR swords or axes or whatever, until, well, you fall, and you get stronger as you do so, and at the end of every encounter, you can pick from one of 3 different buffs. One of those buffs is a heal, so the idea is that if you play poorly, you'll be forced to heal yourself. Otherwise, you can get a buff to make yourself stronger as the run goes through, and of course there's meta progression when you eventually die and such like that. I don't like the combat mechanics that much. Swinging your sword feels good, yes. However, the enemies can only be killed, or at least I believe they take massive damage if you follow certain templates. They sort of like appear on screen as a UI element, so when they're dazed or stunned or whatever you want to call it, you have to strike them at a very specific angle. And in the heat of battle, when you're going nuts and such like that, sometimes it can be easy to miss that. That's more my fault, I feel. So that's not really a criticism of the game specifically. Leading into that, defending is very similar. When an enemy is about to attack you, you can block certain attacks by lining up your weapon with the blocking UI that appears on screen. The little warning that comes up. Feels a bit artificial, but whatever. In LARPing, in real life, if you want to block a sword, you gotta block it in real life and such like that. So this felt a bit weird to me, because I was coming into this from a perspective of a LARPer, thinking that this was a game for LARPers, which obviously it isn't. It's for people who play VR. So maybe if I do come back to this, I'll try to go into it with a fresh mindset, no expectations. Now, that said, when you first start the game, you have a sword and dagger, and as you go through, you can unlock more and more weapons. Here's the thing. When I unlocked my first weapon, series of weapons, I should say, I could only see options for more stuff that could hit the enemy. More swords, more daggers, an axe even. But I didn't see an option for a shield, and I figured maybe if I play the game long enough, I'll eventually get, well, a shield. So, doing what anyone with an internet connection would do, I looked it up. Can I get a shield Until You Fall? And spoiler warning, you can't. You can't get a shield. It's as simple as that. And that's very disappointing for someone who primarily fights in LARP with a sword and shield. I have fought in LARP dual wielding swords before, yes, so I'm not a complete stranger to it, but it's definitely not my preferred playstyle, and that really brought it down for me even more. Once again, it's not the game's fault. It's purely mine and my expectations and what I wanted and such. Now, my other problem with this game is how it sort of styles itself. When you first enter the game, it shows you the blocking mechanic and the fact that you have to strike an enemy at a very specific angle, and I'm kind of led to believe, me specifically, you're kind of led to believe that it's sort of a dueling type game, 1v1 sort of duel sort of thing. However, there's nothing stopping the enemies from ganging up on you, but you only get the indicators for blocking and striking against a single enemy. So if 2, maybe 3 enemies going up on you, you don't get the bonus to whack. You kind of go crazy. It's hard to focus, and that is realistic in LARPs. If 3 people gang up on you, you're pretty screwed. But you also are given the option to run away and then sort of like deal with it on your own terms if you're lucky. So I guess that's a bad example. But the point is, the game is set up in such a way that I feel that you're incentivized for doing one-on-one. It feels like having to fight more than one person at the same time is not what this game was designed for. It's not what the mechanics were based around. So I'm a bit disappointed with that. Once again, I feel my expectations is what led me to not liking this game as much. If they had a shield, if it was more of a dueling type game based on the dueling mechanics, or at least what I was led to believe, if those things were in the game, I'd like to think that I would have liked it just a bit more. So, like I said, I don't like the game, but if you're into that sort of thing, then go for it. My name is Freebie Woods, and this is my very short and frankly disappointed review of Until You Fall. Once again, I don't think it's the game's fault. I think it's a me problem. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.